This is the Paranormal Search radio show and podcast. Discussing unexplainable events that shape our extraordinary world.
Three, two, one, fire!
As your body grows bigger,
your mind must flower.
It's great to learn,
'cause knowledge is power.
Hey gang, it's another episode of the Paranormal Search podcast. My name is Jeremy, and this is a continuation of the last episode where my interview with Ross Weidler ending in that he saw an alien in person. What does it mean? Let's find out.
Never met one person. Oh yeah, I did too. Yes, I did.
Wait,
We
what?
met the agricultural alien.
Oh, that's right. So in the farmer's field that's within the area of everything we're talking about, all sightings are within just a few miles of each other. Lower Paxton Township.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a field here owned by a farmer.
By the Nups in it.
Uh-huh. And there's a lot of sightings. The real big one that made nationwide news,
Mm-hmm.
that was
Over
above. Yeah,
That was at the school.
right.
We
Which is
far
close to that
south
field.
it
Not,
was.
it's so close to the field too. And so one time it was you, Tony, and Larry.
Me, Tony, and Larry pulled up on the site. We were going to look where these two UFOs supposedly touched down.
So there may have been. Okay.
Okay.
So did neighbors report that to you?
No. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a little girl report to me, and I had 4 boys report to me of the UFO sighting. We went to check out these areas for radiation and stuff. And when we were walking, these people just bought this house. I felt so bad for them. I walked up, I'm like, oh my God, what is this? It was 6, maybe, a little over 6 feet tall. And it looked like water standing there. It was probably maybe a foot and a half wide, if that. And it had no eyes, had no ears, no mouth, but it was sucking up all these little particles of dirt out of the ground. And they were floating all through it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was straight. The body of it was straight. It was nothing. Until Larry went to touch this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then it got all wavy, and it started sounding like a transformer sound. It kept getting louder, and I said, I'm out of here. I don't know about you guys. We're out of here. So these other people said, well, we're calling the police. I said, that's your problem, man. We're out of here. I don't want anything to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
So when we left, when I got rid of the guys, I made a lot of phone calls that day. I called Ray up, I called Stan Gordon, I called Butch. Butch didn't know much about it. Stan knew about it. He had 3 sightings of agricultural aliens out in his area. Ray knew all about it. I said, what is it, Ray? He says,
That's Cosmic Ray Keller.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Another good friend of the group.
Yeah. He, Ray said, that's an agricultural alien. I just fell off my chair at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just got off the phone with Stan. I don't play games with this stuff. I call these guys. They're good at this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know what was going on. So every now and then I get an itch to go back to that spot and hopefully to see it and communicate with it, but I don't think I'll ever see that thing again. I don't know if I really want to see that thing again.
And it was transparent, but it was distorting the image, the scenery behind it. Kind of like a heat
See
wave.
right through it.
Remember Tony said it reminded him of like a heat wave or something. Or, I mean, when the heat rises from a road.
But it won't from the dirt like that.
Uh-huh.
I looked into that. And when I talked to Stan, he asked me to draw him pictures of this. And I said, he knows I do artwork. I said, okay, I'll send you pictures of this. I got a phone call within, 5 days till the mail gets there and everything. And Stan said to me, oh my God, that's exactly what we're seeing down here. well, your sketches are better than the ones I'm getting. I said, really? He said, yeah. He says, that's an African Ultra alien. And I even drew it when it was calm.
Mm-hmm.
I drew it when it was pissed. And with all these little dots in the specks of dirt, he was shocked. Now he wants my case on that Bigfoot. He wants to put it in his book.
So is Stan seeing or getting reports from this around Chestnut Ridge?
Honest to God, I don't know.
Yeah.
It has to, when it's agriculture, it has to be farmland. I'm thinking.
And that's how they distinguish it as such. All right.
Yeah. So what they're doing, I don't know. How'd that thing get there? How did that thing leave? We can stick around to find out.
And you said particles of soil was actually being lifted
Out of the ground.
and then what? Just hovering there,
It
sort
just-
of
it
within
was
this
floating
form?
inside the whole creature. Floating
Uh-huh.
inside the whole
Did
creature.
you see it disappear?
No.
You disappeared.
We disappeared. Yeah, we really disappeared on this one. That was one for the books. I don't know if it went through a portal. I don't know if a UFO picked him up. I don't know. Man, this is one I don't know how to figure that one out.
Did you ever talk to the neighbors since then?
No, I'm going to.
Are they still there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we should talk to them sometime.
He said, I don't believe we just moved here and we're seeing this thing in our backyard.
Yeah, right.
That was scary.
Yeah, so this farmer's field connects to these people's
Property,
backyard.
yeah.
Like it runs right into
Right
it.
into
There's
it.
no fence, nothing
No,
like that.
no,
It's just,
no.
yeah.
It's just plowable field.
Mhm.
So what I did is I got Ralph Smith, who's our ghost investigator,
Mhm.
who has all the equipment. We went to take radiation and EMF readings and all this stuff. And I picked the exact spot where this damn thing stood. Now, we got to remember the field was plowed. And Ralph said, oh, no. So Ralph's picking it. He's going, holy shit, look at the signals I'm getting off of this dirt on the radiation.
Hi.
And, yeah, and then he went over and said, I get normal radioactivity over here. And he went back there, and I'm getting not normal, right? And he said, well, did this plow, is he going to plow this field again? I said, oh, yeah. He said, well, this spring he wants to do another reading. He's actually going to be touching the dirt the thing stood on.
This spring coming up. More
And he
details
wants
to
to
follow.
take readings on that to see if they're higher. Because so I'm getting chills, man. This is not good stuff. And I don't know. It's just really crazy.
Does he plant soy in that field?
Yes,
Is that what he does?
Soybeans.
Yeah.
Soybeans and corn.
All right, don't eat anything from that spot.
I had a soybean here. I think I still have it from there to get it examined.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, what if that plant has radiation surging through it? That'd be crazy.
Oh my God! No, I never eat anything out of that field. Oh, no way. Actually, I think his corn is cow corn.
Mm.
They're probably getting really big cows right now if it's radiation.
Yeah.
But I've seen a Bigfoot up there, a small Bigfoot, picking apples from a tree. I had Tony with me again. And at that time, it looked down at me and took off. It's just this area, even at Fairmont Drive in Barleycorn Square, where I saw that
Yeah.
Bigfoot. I also saw one on Fairmont up closer with another guy, family. And he was running, taking pictures, and I was heading for the hills, man. I come home and took my medications and everything. I was scared to death. This thing was huge.
And you saw it.
Yes, I did. And it was huge. All I saw was from the belly button down. And he had thighs that big. And this thing was pure black. Just like the one up there. Black, black, black. What's
Yeah.
up with these black Bigfoots? Is it all the same growing up, you know? And then the police see a brown one on Union Deposit Road. Man, I'm really lost now.
Which is really close to us as well.
We're too damn close right now.
Yeah.
When I walk out this front door of my house, I'm looking everywhere. When I walk out back, I'm looking everywhere. I don't take chances.
Hey, so that one sighting that you saw, the most recent one on Barley Square Road,
Barleycorn Square.
Barleycorn
Yeah.
Square Road.
Yeah.
That's Nye's Run. Is that Nye's Run?
No. Nyes is let me think here.
The creek.
The creek. Well, the creek will run down to Nyes Creek and you'll cross.
But I think that creek is called Nye's.
I don't
Nyes
know what it's
Run.
called.
So through that development, there's
not many houses on that part of the development
Mhm.
until you go through it.
So the one that you saw, okay, so you said you saw it from the belly button down, navel down.
The one that was, on the on Fairmont Drive.
Well, what do you mean? I mean, you mean
Okay, let me tell you.
He
the
ran
story.
right by your door or something?
No,
or?
no. You're missing this.
Yeah.
I was coming back from looking at UFO books at BAM Books, and when I was coming down the road, this guy in this older white Suburban, he was a white male, red hair, turned in front of me, hitting broadside. It was that close. I'm like, what the hell? So he turned and he flew down, and I flew right after him. And he didn't even stop at the stop sign. He ran right through the stop sign. And now you got a brewery down there. And across from there, there's all these parking places.
Okay.
So he pulled in the parking places. I went past him, and I hit up my back lights. And boy, that Jeep lights them up. I did that. This thing ran between our vehicles. That's when I saw it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's not a bear. Mm-mm. He got out of his vehicle and was running after it, taking pictures. I thought, is this guy nuts? So I took off and went and got Tony. And we come back and we lit the whole area up. We couldn't find him. I did Yelps. I can do certain things. And I had Tony out there with me one night. I had him up on an earth mover pile. And I did Yelps. Yelps back. They weren't human Yelps. So Tony's like, yeah, that's not going to do this again. I did Yelps. We got big Yelps. This is not a human yelping. Tony said, you did hear that, did you? I said, yeah. And he said, I'm out of here. We left. It's like, they're Bigfoots. They are here. Why? I don't know. What is with them? To this day, I'm trying to find that white Suburban. I want to talk to that guy.
Absolutely.
I want to see if he has those pictures.
Was this before, so was the brewery up?
No, the brewery
at that
wasn't
time?
there then. They were just starting to build on that side.
Okay, because now it's it's becoming more developed.
It's populated now.
But that woman that lived across the street from where the brewery is now, didn't she say she saw?
She saw, okay, you got to get in your brain where you're going here. Going down Union Deposit Road, you turn right on to Fairmont Drive. Just as you go across that bumpy road where my buddy lives right there in the corner, you turn up a little bit, and right there in the I call it the marsh because it's like a lot of wheat and stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
She said she was drinking coffee, and she wanted to go out, and she had a big window made in her house, and she could go out and look. That's not right. And go out and look. And she looked out there, and she said there was this creature about 8 foot tall standing in that field watching the construction work. She said, and it wasn't a bear. I said, are you sure? It wasn't a bear. She got my phone number from the cards I left at Yanks' place up there. And the bad thing about it is my phone didn't pick up her phone number. You know, what do you call it? It says not available or something. And I thought, damn, because I thought I had her phone number.
Right.
So I thought, you know what? If she saw that where it was seen, I got ideas. So I got in my car, I ran up there, and these two women were talking very seriously. And I'm like, this is it. This is it. And this woman says, I think that man wants to talk to you. She said, okay. So she left and went in her house. She came up to me, and I said, hi, how you doing, ma'am? She says, you're Ross, aren't you? I said, yes, I am. She said, how'd you know it was me? First of all, you're looking out your back window. And that field's right there back of your house. It had to be one of you two. She says, you're good. She moved.
Yeah, she took off.
Yeah, she was afraid for her grandchildren. She gets her grandchildren. She made them stay in the house for 2 hours before she left them to go back out.
Well, I can't even imagine what, obviously, but what that's like. You know, when you see something like that that's not quote unquote normal, it turns your world upside down.
Oh yeah, it does.
I mean, you really don't. Everything you knew now needs to be reevaluated.
She got binoculars and a camera, and was going to get pictures of it. She left, and when she came back,
it was gone.
She wanted to look at its face. She said it was a beautiful looking animal. It wasn't a bear, but it was well grown, and that's like my guy.
Well groomed. Yeah.
And the guy ran between the vehicles, well groomed. The guy up at the apples, well groomed.
Yeah.
What's with this? It's almost like an oversized gorilla.
He's a dapper one.
It's scary.
He's a top-notch Sasquatch.
Yes, he is, and he's driving me crazy. He drove me crazy last year. And then when I got this report in this brown one, and again, I don't know the officer's name, I don't know nothing. I got a phone call, unavailable, I couldn't get back. I know Troop H is. It's not worth pursuing because I don't think he wants to get in trouble.
No, I mean, not until he retires.
Right, I don't want to.
Usually people in that position don't.
Well, and Stan says do what he wants to do because if he sees something again, he will call you again.
Yeah.
Don't screw up a relationship like that.
Yeah, don't hound him. Yeah.
So I haven't done that. You just got to be careful with what you let loose too.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Especially when they're doing that kind of work.
Yeah. It's a bit more accepted these days, but not exactly. Especially in the line of work that he's doing.
Yeah.
And,
well, he actually threw it in reverse and went up Grove Road and went back to the next road on the left-hand side to see if he can get it coming out of the woods. He didn't see it again.
So the big brown...
It's brown, dark.
Sasquatch was just running down.
No, he was walking the double yellow line.
Oh, he was walking
the double line. He thought he was seeing things, and they got these LED new spots. They're very bright, and he hit him in the face with it, and it threw its arms up in the air, and he could see the fur hanging down.
Ooh.
It was brown, long fur, and he said it just went like that. And I guess it hurt its eyes. I guess that would hurt my eyes, too. And it ran up the bank like it wasn't even there. And he said, well, I'll be damned. He threw it in reverse, and he went up Grove Road. And I can't think of the name of that road. It's the first road when you left. Down in there, and there's the rest of the woods. And he didn't see it again. It either went down the Nyes Road, or it was laying low. Because I guess his eyes were hurt. It was hurt by him.
Right.
And he probably feared more danger with this guy. So I checked those areas out. It's just too thick of woods. I'm not going in there right now. Will we find footprints? I don't know. He said about 100 yards up past Grove Road. And if you go there, there's a guardrail there and a trail. So I don't know. I believe him 100%. I believe all the witnesses that I have talked to. There's no way to make up what they made up. No way.
Because they're sincere and shaken up about.
But that one with the guy in the truck, that shook me up pretty big time. I had talked to police officers about this, and they looked into it, and they said if you take the measurements from the ground level past the Suburban, we used to have Suburban cars, that's big. He said that's not a bear. That's not a bear. You're only seeing half of this thing. What the hell is the rest of it?
Right.
I said, I didn't stick around long enough to find out. But he was on the move. Now, if you go up there, you'll see two little roads are getting ready to build back in there, too. That'd be on your left-hand side going up. There's two little roads. He ran up that one road. And we think we had a footprint, but we're not sure if it was a footprint or it wasn't a footprint, or if it was planted there. We talked to a surgeon that lives up there about it, because he lives in the back of it, and he says, we've been hearing a lot of strange things around this neighborhood. And he says he's got my card, and if he gets anything, he's going to call me. Yanks is a friend of mine. He builds homes. He's from West Hanover, from where I used to live. We had Bigfoot problems out there, too.
West Hanover.
And that was, again, Hollow Drive and Sandy Hollow Road. All
that same
area.
Weird.
What the hell's up with this? So, the whole neighborhood was all shook up.
Yeah.
Because this creature was so strong that it threw cement furniture in.
Oh, that happened in West Hanover.
Yeah.
So
where the old firehouse is, if you look straight up, you'll see Mr. Rank's house.
And Ross was relating to a story that was in someone's backyard. They had cement furniture and it's thrown into the pool. Did he see something run through there?
No, he wasn't home.
He wasn't home at the time.
That's the bad thing about it. He come home and he looked outside. He had to look again. He said, our furniture's missing. He thought it was stolen. And he went out and he looked at it. It was sitting in his pool.
But there was a sighting, like
there was
the
one
day before or something,
hill,
like in that area?
Yeah, over the hill from there. And it was at a guy's back house. He was busting up the trash cans, getting the trash cans. And he come out with a 12-gauge shotgun. And the thing seen him, and he said it went up the hill like it wasn't even there. And he said, my shot would have bounced off of that.
And he described it as a Bigfoot?
A big gorilla.
Or something
He called
bipedal?
it a big gorilla.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, Jesus. So my garbage cans got taken in the field, too. And I thought, I'm waiting until morning. I'm not going out there now.
Right.
And I had a swimming pool and ground pool. I wasn't even swimming in it at night anymore because it's cooler, you know. And I wasn't even swimming in it anymore. My mom was swimming one night and gave me a heart attack. I heard the splash and I thought, oh my God. So, I have my gun in my hand. I'm looking out the window. Dummy, dummy, dummy. But we had 1, 2, 3 sightings of this site.
In this area?
Huh?
In this area?
In this area of West Hanover.
Oh, anyway. Oh, wow.
And it's almost like a triangle.
Yeah, we really got to map this stuff out.
We got a lot of work to do here,
Yeah,
buddy.
that's really interesting.
There is the screaming creature out there. Man, and I had to live out there. I couldn't wait to get married and get out of there.
Uh-huh.
I was scared. I ended up in the hospital 180 beats per minute.
Wow.
In fear.
Okay, so what happened here? This happened at night? It was just the screaming?
All these things were happening at night. Mm-hmm. And he was dark. You couldn't see him. People were not going out of their house after a certain time.
Because of a scream at night that the residents were hearing.
Yeah. And people just were afraid to go out at night because he blended in with the dark. So the state police, this thing was at my house. It had the shoulders and the head, and I had a nightlight on because we were all going hunting and we were all staying in my bedroom.
This is the thing you saw out the window.
Right, and I had a poodle there that was growling, which I thought, what the hell's going on? And I looked up, I thought, oh my God, what's this? And that's when I found the bush was completely flat. And I called state police. State trooper looks at me and looks at me and looks at the other cop and he says, you know what? I don't even want to run into what did this. And I said, what are you guys talking about? And he told me the rest of the stories that were going on out there. I'm like, this is scary.
Wait, and you heard this scream.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you compare it to? Because I know that you have listened to some wildlife screams, examples of wildlife screams and things like that. I think Butch went over some things with you.
Yeah.
It was, other than the pissed off beaver, was there
that was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, for any listener, jump on YouTube and listen to an angry beaver. They're a ferocious sort. You don't want to mess around.
You won't want to run into him.
Yeah.
The screams are more like real low tones. They're grunts too. Mm-hmm. They're yelps. I do think they communicate with each other this way. Mm-hmm. I can't prove that. I'm not a scientist. That's just what my feelings are. They're almost like a prehistoric bear to me, and I said that to Butch. He was nuts, but it's what it sounds like. And we got the bipedals running loose in the woods, and we got missing 411 with David Politis. There is just so much going on in our mountains, our state parks, our federal parks. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they're going to solve it. A friend of mine worked at Yellowstone Park. And he told me they have a book in there with all the missing people. And he retired got away from there and became a cop. And then he became a carpenter. And he was living out in that area. He said, well, he was moving back home. He would talk to me about this. He had a heart attack and died.
Oh, no way.
I was so shocked.
Yeah. And
I coached him in baseball and everything. And I was hoping to get some information that some people weren't even able to get. And I think I'd have got it. And he died of a heart attack. So that blew that one out of the water. So it just seems like you get so close with this stuff, and it just disappears.
Right.
It's like a no-win game.
And that makes you feel like maybe this is the only farther you'll get.
I don't think
all
so.
this.
I think I'll get further.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Kind of.
I want to do deeper research. And then if I feel I need people, I'll get them. But me and Butch are doing a lot of research. One of them was the Russians.
Let's talk about what you're working on right now.
Yeah, it's called the Dalu Pass. That was Dead Mount. That had to deal with the Russian hikers, the 9 Russian hikers that got killed mysteriously killed. This basically tells the whole story here. I had to cut it down. Do you want me to read this?
You don't have to read the entire thing. I mean, that would
It
take
just
an hour.
says
but,
January of 1959, 9 Soviet college students died under mysterious circumstances while hiking through the Royal Mountains in what's now known as the Day-Love Pass incident. Okay, used to be Dead Mountain. I'm sorry. They did a layover at a village on the way to the pass. Okay, that was the time that the hikers were ever seen alive again. All were killed. What killed them? On an unknown force. Investigators are trying to find out what the unknown force was. As they pushed through the hostile climate toward the base of the mountain, they were hit with snowstorms that ripped through the narrow pass. That's the pass of Day-Love Pass. Decreasing visibility caused the team to lose their sense of direction, and instead of moving toward, it's called Oat-a-Ton, they actually diverted west and found themselves on the slope of a nearby mountain. To avoid losing altitude, okay, they had again, or perhaps simply because the team wanted to practice camping on mountain slopes. So he, who was the leader, they named it after him, he decided of the Day-Love Pass, he called for a campsite to be set up. And to make oh man, my eyes on my glass on. To be made there, it was on this solitary mountain that all 9 hikers would be dead. It's not much more. Most of them died of hypothermia. Something came in the front of that tent, and they cut their way out of that tent. And they were half naked, some of them, running through the mountains, slopes. They were heading for the wood line for protection. One got away a mile, and they found him dead too. They all died of injuries. They all were beat up, but there was, you know what I mean? It's hard to explain. Just like I look at your tattoo in your hand. You have red, blue marks, you know, like bluish colors, skin like they were fighting something.
Yeah.
2 died of skull fractures. I think it was 2 skull fractures. Matter of fact, I have it in here. Most of them died of hypothermia. One girl was found slumped over a rock. Some were trying to make it back to the tent, died from hypothermia. Some were found under 13 feet of snow. What was it, 2 weeks? Well, what happened is the parents wanted an investigative rescue team sent to these guys. And when they got there, the first 4, I think they found, were there for 2 weeks under snow. Dead. It took them up to 2 months or more to find everybody else. They found 6, and the rest they had to find later. And the only way they could do that is by taking poles and punching them in the ground, find them. But see, that's not from an avalanche. That's from continuous snowstorms and drifting. Okay, so people got to remember that. This is not an avalanche thing. It's not a hurricane. Some of the stupid stuff they're coming up with. And it's not a Yeti, which is a mink in Russian. It's not a Yeti because footprints are not found. But then you got to think, with all the drifting and all the snow, his footprints are going to be covered up anyhow. Could it have been a pissed off Yeti? Yes, it could have been. Yeah, I mean, but he took on 9 people. There was 10. The other guy went back because he was sick. He got home. And he later died at the age of 75. But, you know, it is a very interesting case. It's almost, you know, you start in, it's like reading a good book. You know, you get into it. And I pretty much got the whole case down pat. And, you know, you're not going to... my personal feelings is I think it was something either invisible or visible that hovered above the ground that didn't leave footprints. Now that's if, okay, we got to go with here, big if it was an alien, or if that's from the drifting snow, and the snows would have covered up its path, or its footprints, I mean. So could it have been a Yeti? Don't know.
But these people cut their way
Out of the tent to get
out
away.
of the tent to run into freezing temperatures in their bare feet, hardly
Some had
dressed.
socks on. Some had.
What drove them crazy? I mean, that's
Well, it could have been ultrasound too, like a infrasound, I could call it. Infrasound. I don't know if they didn't. Yeah, they still use it. Police departments have it to break up riots. It can make you nauseated, throw up. Could it have been infrasound? I doubt it very much. Who would do that way up in there?
or maybe that is where to do it if it was a military test.
Yeah. Well, some people were blaming it on the military. Some people thought the guys that got fractured skulls were from the butt end of a rifle.
Wow, someone was getting rid of witnesses.
It's possible. So there's 75 reasons what happened to them.
But where this happened at it's in Siberia, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, what was around there? There were some locals that live in that area.
There's
right?
a village, and they're accused of killing 10 people. So they lost 9 other hunters. Okay. Then a plane crashed. 26 people were aboard. Only 9 died.
Oh, interesting.
So what's with 999? What do you get me turn 999 upside down?
Yeah, no, it's
666.
number of the beast.
So, I had Butch call the TV show. The guy had a TV show on. Josh. I had Butch call Josh. He lives in New York. He left a message to Josh. Josh called back. Says, "This is Butch." He said, "Yeah, hell yeah." He says, "This is Josh." He says, "How the hell you doing?" And he talked to Josh about this. And he can't figure it out either.
Yeah.
He was there, and he said it wasn't a landslide. So
What is it about this case that intrigues you?
I want to know what killed these kids. I want to know if there's an unknown force living out there that we don't know about.
Does it remind you of any other cases?
Yeah, it does. The invisible creature out in West Hanover. Yeah.
West Hanover? Back to West Hanover?
Mm-hmm. See, West Hanover, it's Laura Paxton. Paxton, West Hanover, whatever you want to say. There's just some really weird shit going on.
So in West Hanover, this invisible creature that you're talking
There's 2 of
about.
them.
Okay, wait, is that the predator-like creature? That's not where the sighting was, right?
The sighting was right there on Fairville Avenue, out by the truck stops. If you go back where the township building is, it was straight back, and that's Fairville. At that intersection, that house there is where it happened. It's
But
abandoned now.
those the two,
and the other one's out at the Gap.
the couple that saw this something that like a
There was more than a couple. There was 5 people saw this creature.
really
Well, they didn't see it. That's
yeah,
the thing.
but it was like that warpy camouflage predator-like thing that,
Mhm.
and it just kind of like.
Well, they're
caught
having
a
sightings
glimpse
of
of
a predator out in Ohio.
Hey, okay, wait. Is this predator-like camo is what's seen in West Hanover? Is that what you're talking about? The invisible
I'm
creature thing?
thinking it just reminds me of this case. I'm not saying it is exactly it, but it could be that type of creature. Maybe they're all over the world. We don't know it. They died of an uncompelling force. What the hell is that force?
Yeah, right.
This does not make sense. It really does not make sense. And, to find them that long, they're in excellent condition, except for the bruising,
Right.
and some had 12 broken ribs, some had 8
messed up.
broken ribs. So I was figuring a bunch could have been an avalanche with snow and ice hitting them and breaking
Mhm.
the ribs. I didn't know what to think of this. He brought this up to me and had me
Right.
going nuts.
But it reminded you of
It just reminds me of
some
something
things in West Hanover.
that's floating above the surface of the snow, and came to the front of that tent, and they saw it and took off like a bat out of hell. Well, first of all, they cut slits to look out and saw whatever they saw. Then they
Oh,
went,
there you go.
and they cut big slits. Ran
Got
for
the
it.
heck out.
Well, they went for the wood line, And the one guy was trying to make it back home. He ran, and it's 8 hours from there to the next village. It's a very sad case.
It really is, yeah.
It's a sad case. Will they ever get closure out of this? I don't think so. They might come up and say, well, we think it was an avalanche. It wasn't an avalanche. It's something of an unknown force that we don't know about.
What has Russia released?
Nothing.
And we still haven't.
They have nothing. They have nothing. They can come up with this. They can come up with that. It's... I don't know how they're going to figure this out if they ever... I don't think they ever will. Me and Butch came to the conclusion this will never be figured out. They might come up with something, but there was no witnesses to what happened.
Right.
So how are you going to come up with anything? How are you going to know? It's a very sad story.
So, going back to West Hanover again, what happened there with the?
The thing of it was they were all outside.
2 reports. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they were all outside, and the cornfield was falling down with a 4-foot path, and it was screaming like a baby and yelling like a woman at the same time.
Scary.
I could do that, and it was coming out, and when it came to the grass started falling down, and that's when he fired a 12-gauge shotgun into nothing that he could see, but he shot. And then it turned around and went back in the corn like nothing ever happened.
When was this?
Huh?
About what year was this, you think?
Let me think about this a minute. That's been that's been over 30 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was it after your first sighting?
Yeah, and the thing of it is, this thing also picked a car 2 feet up off the ground. The 2 people were out making out on the dirt road. They heard this boom, 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 and the trees were moving. And next thing you know, he started his car and it picked it up. It was like 2 feet off the ground. And he just kept hitting the horn to scare it until it finally left.
Uh-huh.
And it was going boom, boom, back in the woods. And his tires were going so fast, the car just took off.
I bet.
You know. The other sighting is hunters out at Indiantown Gap. They get permission to get these permits to go hunt on the property in Indiantown Gap. There's a lot of deer out there.
Right.
A lot of Bigfoot too. But anyhow, they were walking. Something was walking with them. And they looked around. Nothing was there. Kept walking, tree branches breaking and everything. Turned around. Nothing's there. So you get up to the very top of this hill. And the guy slams a shell on his gun. And the guy says to him, his buddy says, you mean to tell me you're being followed by something we cannot see and you just put a shell in your gun? Are you nuts? So he says, well, we're going to walk. We're going to go like a horseshoe walk, like come down. We're going back to the vehicle. As they went back to the vehicle and they looked up, they could see the wheat falling down. And then it went back, and you could see it going back and hear the twigs cracking and everything. And I said, what'd it look like? What'd it look like? We couldn't even see it. There was nothing there. That is really weird. He says, yep, and I ain't never going back again.
No way.
He says, unless they're experimenting with some type of creature that you can't see to fight, what else could it be? I don't know. But then again, you get back to the alien thing, too. It could be alien. You don't know. You don't know. So there's the 2 things that are going on out there. I'm just telling you, man. And like I say, and then I just got to be careful what I say because of some other stuff. But it's just not. I don't know, man.
Right.
You hang with me, buddy. You're gonna see some weird shit. I don't know what to think anymore. This here. When I really got into this with him, and I read this, and I seen the pictures of these bodies, this is crazy. This is crazy. What did this? And the guy even got a mile away, and he still did whatever it was, got him and killed him.
Does it remind you of the Todd Cease case at all?
Todd Cease. The thing about the Todd Cease case is when they went past that tree a couple times with the bloodhounds, and his body wasn't there. And the next day they go back and then his body's found there. That is really weird. Whoever killed him put him there. And it wasn't a human being. It was a UFO. because if you're ever in police work like I've been involved with, you understand these things. You take one of them little trikes, what do you call those things, those little four-wheel things?
Yeah.
ATVs.
Yep.
And you take bloodhounds 10 feet away around that bike, and you can't pick the scent up, and you look up and you see a boot hanging in a tree. He was taken up by a UFO.
So briefly, tell the listener about the case, just very brief.
He went out scouting deer, and he told his wife he'd be back around 12 noon to have lunch with her, and he never showed up. So she called the police, and then the police got a search party, and they started looking for him. They never did find him the first day or night. Then they all left and went. He was found within 25 feet or so of his home. That was gone over many a times, near a pond and a dead rattlesnake next to him. The snake did not bite him. The snake died from radiation, I'm pretty sure, from a UFO. It was just too loaded with people for a UFO to show up and drop a body off. I think he fought them and they killed him. I can't prove that. I don't think anybody can prove it.
No, because of the mystery surrounding the remains.
Yes, and he was found in his underwear, laying under the tree, from what I'm getting out of this. I read it in John Ventry's book, and it didn't take me long to figure this case out, just from reading what he put in the book. Butch is still working on it. I don't know what more he wants out of this. I don't know if he'll find anything more out of this. He actually could be sued for doing this. This case was put off as a cocaine overdose. The cocaine, according to investigators, the cocaine that man would have had in his body, he'd have walked 10 feet and fell over dead.
Well, that's just so odd that they would. Why attribute something like cocaine to him? Or any type of drug?
Well, here's the thing. He coached baseball.
Uh-huh.
You have to have a urine test, and you have to have a test done to see if you're on any kind of drugs before you're allowed to coach kids nowadays. I had to go through it. I had a background check done and everything. And they always found out that he's a nice guy. He drove a bread truck, never caused nobody grief or problems, worked good with the kids. There's no way, unless he was an informant for somebody, it just doesn't make sense.
Right.
The thing that got me thinking about the UFO, and it was seen going up in a UFO by some witnesses, the thing that really got me going is when the bloodhounds couldn't pick up his scent around the bike. That makes me think.
He went straight up.
Straight up.
And then his boot was in the tree?
And his boot was in the tree.
His boot.
Kicking. I guess he was kicking and screaming.
Oof. And then he was found closer to his home than where he disappeared, where the ATV was, and where the boot was. For some reason, he was just dropped off.
Yep.
Literally.
And the thing of it was, the coroner, the police chief, and his son ID'd the body. The wife did not ID the body. The wife never got to see his body.
Right, they wouldn't let family view him.
No, they wouldn't let him have a viewing. That to me is conspiracy. Something going on
Absolutely,
here.
yeah, something.
And he went from Allentown to Fort Indian Town Gap. What is going on?
Yeah, why
here?
is he going to Indian Town Gap?
Yeah, because it's a UFO involvement. That's why.
Why would anyone go? I mean, if you're going to have, like, each county has, right? Doesn't each county has its own
coroner?
Yeah.
Graham Heckrick's our coroner, Dauphin County. Coroner up in Northumberland where he lived, there's a coroner for that.
But yet he went to a military base.
And that doesn't make sense because you're taking a possible, let's call it a murder. Well, it is a murder no matter how you look at it. It's a homicide. You're taking a homicide case out of another county to another county. You can't do that. Just like JFK, when he was shot, they had no right to take his body from Dallas. They should have performed an autopsy on him right then. They were hiding stuff. That's why they wanted him out of there quick. So I don't even know if he's in that coffin.
Right, yeah, that is some speculation.
It could be sandbags. He could be out there in that decontamination building. Oops, shouldn't have said that. But, you know, I seen that too. It scared the shit out of me. there is just so much going on, and I'm getting information from a guy out there about robots being built and all that kind of stuff.
But they're on the base.
Yeah, well, now he's seen orbs around there. He said they had 25 cars at this base. They're going around like you'd pick your laundry up on one of those things. I don't know. I never was there. I didn't get to see that.
Have you seen orbs?
Have I seen an orb? Oh, yeah. I've seen one. It was big and orange, as big as a Volkswagen. It was beautiful. It was going across the top of the mountain. Hauling across the top of the mountain.
Good old Blue Mountain.
The mountain, and it was following a thunderstorm. We used to have people belong to Search that up there by the TV antennas and stuff, they could see in UFOs. And, we wanted reports, and that kind of pissed them off. So I think that's why they left, too.
Okay.
I run a strip organization. I don't play games, man. If you got something going on, we want to know about it. Is there somebody else we got to call in and investigate this? We got to know these things.
Hey, so tell, since we're talking about investigations right now, tell our listeners how many files you have. I mean, roughly, just sort of, what paperwork have you done so far?
I've done a lot of paperwork.
We've gathered reports. It's mandatory. Anytime anyone comes to us with any type of sighting, we have them write out a report.
We have a Bigfoot report. We have a UFO report. We have all the reports for each thing is filled out.
Try to be as detailed as possible.
Paranormal reports.
Yep.
You want to know how many reports we filled out since 2014?
A bunch.
I really couldn't tell you. Probably in the neighborhood of 150, 200.
It's
maybe.
amazing. That's great.
Yeah, but that year here, that 1 year here, Tony would tell you we were run ragged.
Is that 2015?
I think it was 2015.
Yeah.
We were run ragged here with UFO reports. And we were even picking them up over across the river. People wanted us to investigate them. And I'm like, how do you people know us?
Yeah, that's pretty.
I was even investigating that wrestler. I don't think he died of natural causes. I think they got.
Yeah, Ross is talking about another case that's similar to the Todd Cease disappearance, where a young man was in a canoe, I guess, on the Susquehanna. There's little islands throughout running up and down the Susquehanna, and I guess he goes back and forth and does some hunting or.
He was hunting for deer on the island.
Yeah,
they do go on that island.
And the water where he disappeared at was 4 feet.
Yep.
About 4 feet deep. But he was found. So he disappears.
Lancaster Dam.
Which is, what is that? Is that like 20 miles away?
If that.
But the Susquehanna River is full of very shallow parts of the river, like very shallow. Some you can walk across.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Plus, there's boulders all over the place. There's big rocks. There's everything.
Well, he was a wrestler, a very good swimmer. He was only 4 foot of water. It was just getting cold then. So I don't know if he'd have got hypothermia. I don't think so.
Wait, is that dam by Columbia? Is that what you're talking about?
I believe that's about right.
Is that the one by Chickies Rock?
Yeah, might be.
But,
well, here's the weird thing is, I knew this Elvis impersonator. And he took me up to a restaurant. And there's these 2 big ones over there on that island, and one's over here, those high tension wire things.
Yeah.
And we was in there, and a young girl come over and said, "Hi, Vic, how you doing?" He said, "Very good." He says, "This is Ross. He's a UFO investigator." And she just looked at me. She said, "Are you here about that case?" I said, "What case would that be?" You always check them.
Yeah.
"What case would that be?" He said, "My boyfriend." I'm like, "What?"
Ooh, man.
"Your boyfriend?" "Yeah, the wrestler." I said, "You're kidding me." "No, I dated him." And this is very strange.
Yeah, really.
There's
sad.
something strange to his death.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Seriously?" She says, "Yes." And the boss was watching her talk to me, and he knew what was going on. And he come over and made her leave.
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Don't worry, we're looking into it." I myself think it was a UFO involvement. It just doesn't make any sense. Not this one. And I could throw a rock and almost hit that island. It just doesn't make sense.
Was...
Well, see, no, it's not done there. I go down there, and River Rescue of New Cumberland is practicing on that area. And not the fire chief, but the River Rescue chief went by me. He said, "Hi, how you doing?" I said, "Good." I says, he says, "Are you here investigating that kid?" I said, "Well, you probably had a lot of people doing this thing." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I think there's more to this. I think there's more like UFO involvement." He said, "You might be right."
Really? Why do you say that?
I don't know. I don't know. That's why I say you run into these strange cases and strange people boot with it.
Yeah, sure.
And he wasn't throwing me off at landing dock. He said, "You can be here as long as you want." And I said, "We will be." And I just don't know. I don't know. You get a kid, he's almost 18 years old. He's a strong swimmer. He's a wrestler. He's muscular built. He could swim. It would take his muscles more time to get hypothermia than a normal person because they're more, beefed up. So, and everything was on shore. I don't get this.
Wait, all of his stuff was on shore?
Yes, the boat, everything is on shore. So I don't know how that can be. How did he get in that water? Nothing was ever found.
And then wind up how many miles?
Yeah. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's a scuba diver.
Yeah.
He looks for bodies. And I said, "I got to talk to you." He said, "Let me tell you something, Ross. When I go in that water, it's so murky sometimes that I'm swimming and there's a body's face right in front of my face."
Ooh.
He says, "That's when I stand straight up out of the water." He says, and they're usually hooked on some debris. For that guy to go that far and not get hooked on debris, that's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And there's also the river is lined by forests.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of logs,
Mm-hmm.
limbs, branches floating around in that river. I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially along the large rocks that jut up from it. They form like a sort of a trap. Like there's stuff stuck in there like anywhere you go.
I drove a boat up and down that river.
Yeah.
And I never seen so much junk in the river. You had to be careful where you went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I mean, it gets deep when you're around 3 Mile Island.
yeah.
But up to that point, there's some really shallow
I was
parts.
down at 3 Mile and ran a boat down there checking that out.
Yeah.
Because this old man and his grandchildren were seeing UFOs flying up and down the river. And he would say to them, he said, "Grandpa, did you see that?" "No, neither did you."
Mhm.
No. Same with the girl. "No, and neither did you."
Yeah.
They didn't want to be involved in that. UFOs been seen sucking water out of the right off the bathing beach with a hose down in, sucking water out of the Susquehanna River.
Some of that grimy river water.
Oh my God, they can have it. They can have it. They probably all died on the way there. But there is a lot of unsolved cases. I don't think Todd C's case is solved. I don't think this kid's case is solved. He said it was natural causes, the coroner. Our public officials, I don't trust them
Right.
anymore. I'm sorry. Graham Hetrick, I would trust as a coroner. I think Graham's right up
But
front.
he's Dauphin County.
He's Dauphin County. If I would ask him to look up the records of Todd Cease, he probably would.
He could?
He
Do you
could.
think?
Yes, he could. Yes, he could.
Get him on the show.
Yeah. Well, I want to get him at one of my meetings.
Yeah, please do. That'd be great.
I'd like to get him there and speak about this. Which says, well, he's not a doc. Yes, he does do autopsies. Yes, he does. He doesn't have to be a doctor. He has to be trained to do it. So there's 2 cases. I just feel so bad for that boy.
Yeah, that's really a
I
shame.
just-
And his family, too. It's just horrible.
It's a shame. And if it did have alien involvement, they're not going to tell you.
Right.
They're not going to tell
Of
you.
course. Why not? Why
But-
would they? I mean, it's
Yeah, I mean, come on. And that's the same way with the
Todd Cease.
with Todd
And
Cease and this. They're never going to tell you
The
the truth.
disappearances in
If I
Soviet
said a
Union.
Yeti came out and said a Yeti killed these kids, then I'm admitting that Bigfoot's real.
Right.
If I said a UFO did it, I'm admitting the UFOs are real.
Yeah, but they are real.
Well, we know that. We see them every
I
day.
know.
But to get the answer,
yeah,
yes,
sure.
they really are.
Yeah, I know.
That-
It'd be preposterous to
You know
say
what I mean,
that
Jeremy?
these things are. Yeah.
So it's I don't know if it was God for me to do this stuff, to get involved in this stuff. Like my calling, I got away from firefighting. I did that 15 years. I loved it, enjoyed it. But, in that one call I was on where we found that round burnt spot to this day.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
See, the bad thing about it was grass, green grass. Green grass won't burn because it's got water in it.
Where was that at?
If you know where Home Depot is, on 22, behind Country Buffet.
Yeah, sure.
You'll see in back of there's still grass there, but that's where it happened, right there.
I'll tell you what, after eating
It's
a Country
still there.
Buffet,
Yeah.
I burned some holes in the grass too.
Oh my God. I was with the fire chief and he was just dumbfounded. He said, I don't believe this, man. This grass is green and we got a round circle 10 foot tall and long.
Perfectly
wide,
round.
Perfectly round, and it burned. He said, I don't get this. He says, do we need to take samples of this? I said, I guess I think I would. Because I was dumbfounded too. Nothing came back.
Nothing came back on it.
Nothing came back.
That's weird. Wait,
Not even radiation. Nothing. It was the weirdest thing we ever had happen in our fire. And the really weird thing was our headlights went out on our engine when we turned to go down in there. The only lights we could get to work was our spotlights.
What?
Yeah, the headlights went out on that engine. And when we left, the headlights came back on.
Oh, that is pretty weird.
Mike says, I ain't never going on another one of these calls. He's a fire chief. This is crazy. What the hell's going on here? I said, I don't know. I said, I've been looking into UFOs. She's like, a UFO did this? I said, no, thank you.
Right, but that's strange.
I said, it's too big of a perfect round circle. Someday you'll have to come. You'll have to take you to some of these places.
Absolutely. That sounds
Blow your mind.
Yeah, sure.
It's just, it's, I don't know. I just don't know.
All right, looks like we ran out of time. There's going to be a third interview with Ross, a continuation. That will be episode 5. I think I only have about half an hour left of the interview, so I may pad that episode with some public domain sci-fi music, something along those lines. You do want to listen to that interview, though, because he actually shows me the weird object that was dug out of his shoulder blade. It's going to be fun. All right, and as a reminder, our group, the Paranormal SEARCH of Pennsylvania, we do meet on the second Wednesday of every month in the Lower Paxton Municipal Building in Lower Paxton, Pennsylvania. That is Harrisburg. We meet there the second Wednesday, 7 to 9, and we speak about all things strange and bizarre. Hope to see you there. Take good care, and we'll see you on the next episode.